Welcome back. This episode, we're going to be talking about the figure, which, if you didn't know, is going to be talking about drawing people. I'm sorry this episode took a while to come out. You're going to find out why pretty quickly. I recently got into drawing digitally with Procreate, and I think that I'm going to try that out on this video, and we'll see how it works. So when you're drawing people, it's all going to start with the head, and you're going to use the head basically as a ruler. According to the Marvel Comics, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way book, they say to make people about 8 heads tall, but you're going to notice that most people in your life are nowhere near those kind of superhero proportions, so usually it's more like 6 heads tall or so. But basically just look around you and kind of use that head size to compare it to different places on their body to see how big they are. So you'll notice that his shoulders are wider than his head, whereas her shoulders are about her head width. His hips are about the size of his head, but her hips are wider. Do your own measurements and see what you come up with. That's just based on the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way book. So what I'm doing here is I'm showing how to just take these simple stick figures that you can make, and that's the idea. You want to start simply and then just add on top of that. So the idea is to start with a simple stick figure skeleton almost, and then add on top of that lines and slowly fix it and notice and change as you go. You don't have to get everything right the first time. Sometimes you just have to just kind of slop it out and just kind of scribble almost and make these stick figures, and then just know that you're going to be drawing on top of them and fixing them later. The whole process involves a lot of erasing or perhaps even just tracing onto another page. I recommend that you use reference. So for this picture, I decided I wanted to use some reference. I wanted to have Captain Marvel fighting Thanos. So basically, like I said, I just start out really sloppy, and I'm just going to add more and more layers as I figure out where everything goes. I'm starting out with just stick figures that kind of show the place of everything and kind of show the proportion, and I'm not really worried about getting it completely perfect the first time, but I am worried about looking at it and making sure that everything is in the right proportion and kind of fixing things. This process kind of is the process that most professionals are going to use. They kind of build up drawings as they go, slowly, like with skeletons almost, and then adding more and more detail until they start to like it. And obviously these drawings that I'm doing right here, I would probably need to take these a couple more steps before I would be done, and actually have a finished drawing that anybody would really want to look at. I'm just kind of mostly showing you the whole process. And also, I am slowly learning how to use this Procreate and having some problems. And I am totally making up Iron Man's armor right here because I do not have a very good reference. That brings up something. You should always have a pretty good reference. So for this, I decided I wanted to do that whole 6 fan arts thing. And I asked some of my students online some recommendations. And this is one of the recommendations that I got. It's Doctor Strange. So I drew this a couple of weeks ago before I started getting into Procreate, and it kind of like took over everything and made it difficult for me to get everything done. I will work on that though. For this, I kind of struggled with his little hand gestures. I didn't really know what kind of hand gestures to give him. That's a big thing about Doctor Strange. And then obviously I wanted to give him some kind of like a Zen pose, so I've got him kind of sitting crisscross applesauce. So I drew this all really sketchy, if you noticed. I was talking over it, but I started out with just kind of like the stick figure like I did before, and I slowly added more and more detail, and I kind of fleshed it out. And then finally I'll add some pen on top of this. This drawing took, about probably 45 minutes. I'm doing all these drawings that I'm doing on actual paper. They're about 32 times faster. I really sped these up. There's 2 basic kinds of drawing when you're doing this kind. You've got the really sketchy stuff that you're trying to like search around and trying to find the right lines. And then once you find the right lines, then you come in and you add these really clean lines with a pen and finalize it. But you don't want to bring the pen out until you actually know where everything is going to go. I think I did pretty good with this, but my wife really didn't like the hand. And I think it's because I had the hand kind of like facing forward, so I kind of tried to figure out how to fix it in Procreate. In these kind of drawings, honestly, your eye is probably more important than your hand. Being able to notice things. I kind of had been noticing that there was something wrong with that Doctor Strange, but, I kind of just kept plugging along. My wife really pointed out with the hand, though. So this is Lydia Deetz. She is the main character, Winona Ryder's character from one of my favorite movies, Beetlejuice. I think she's she's almost like, looking back, she's like a style icon for a lot of girls that I knew growing up. She's kind of like a little dark and moody, and anyway, I really liked her up hair that she had in this movie. It's kind of like spiky looking. It's very Tim Burton looking hair with all these little spikes pointing out everywhere. And I really liked a couple of the scenes in the movie. Early on, she had a camera, and she was the only one that was able to see ghosts. I always thought that was pretty cool. She was a pretty neat character. So to color her in, I gave her kind of like a nice red dress and some, black tights. And I gave her some Doc Marten boots. I don't really know what kind of shoes she wore. I didn't really look at very much reference, but she seemed like somebody that would wear Doc Martens. Another recommendation that I had for these 6 fan arts was Walter White, one of the most famous teachers on TV, apparently. Anyway, he was obviously kind of a bad teacher, and so I decided in this picture I would have him mixing some chemicals together and kind of making some kind of crazy smoke. Got "how to be bad" written on the chalkboard. I remember on some of the reference pictures I looked at, he had like a bandage on his nose. I thought that was kind of funny. I thought I would include that. He's not really wearing any personal protective equipment while he's doing this little experiment. So for this same drawing, I just started out with just like the stick figure kind of thing sketched in lightly with a pencil. I mean, you probably can't really see it because I do those kind of sketches really, really fast, and whenever I speed it up 32 times, it makes it really, really, really fast. So I was kind of coloring this in. It was kind of like a really, really, really questionable decision to make the chalk white on the background and try to color around it. It took forever. I really, really, really did not like doing that. Tried to make the smoke look really, really, really disgusting and accurate. I don't know what he mixed together, but it doesn't look good. For the next one, I was supposed to draw this emoji. I didn't really know what this emoji is, honestly. It's like this little, he looks like he's like really freaked out, or like maybe he saw something. He also kind of has like red face. I kind of looked sick. I wanted to make it look like a really freaked out looking little character. I tried to really go weird with the shading and just make him look maybe sick too. Kind of added some weird coloration, like some weird sick, like blue, kind of greenish, kind of like what is wrong with this character? I don't really have any idea what this emoji means. I don't speak emoji. I don't know what you guys are talking about when you speak in emojis. So I also was supposed to draw the Duolingo bird. When I looked at the reference, I saw a couple of things where like the Duolingo bird was like holding a gun to people's head, like forcing them to learn Spanish. But the student that wanted me to draw this, he said that it really helped him out learning Spanish, so I decided to make him really, nice, not loose. Sometimes like the Nike Run Club app, it kind of almost seems like it's holding me hostage, the way that I saw the Duolingo bird holding some people hostage, so I kind of went there. But then, that's not what this guy wanted. He wanted this happy little thing. He also wanted me to draw a Adventure Time, Finn the Human. I've watched a little bit of Adventure Time. My daughter really likes it a lot. I decided I really didn't want to draw him normal, though. I decided to give him a really, really big beard. I kind of decided to kind of go a little different with the shading style. I've been looking at a lot of Roald Dahl books. I kind of wanted to make this look almost like a Quentin Blake illustration. If you look at Roald Dahl's books, like with the BFG and a couple other books, they had this guy Quentin Blake draw the illustrations. So then I just put all the stuff together on the fan arts thing. The next episode, I don't know what the next episode is going to be. It's going to be about, I think, posing the figures in different ways. If you guys have any poses, send them in.